I know it's been talked about to death. You know what I'm talking about. Frosk.
Sexism in gaming.
Yes, this Frosk.
There will be backlash because I'm not as bangable as the previous host. It's dehumanizing for you. Morgan Webb, Olivia Munn did not exist. And controlled for the variable. For the variable. Women, Emily, Abby, Megan.
Darkness, my old friend.
Monkeys, roll the footage.
Those reactionary threads.
You will be silent!
Yeah, that works.
I like
all right.
it a lot.
Okay. All right, moving on.
Hey, what about Tula?
G4 host Indiana Black responds to sexism in gaming rant backlash, tells critic to read on some feminist lit to better educate yourself. Yes, because there's nothing like somebody who refuses to admit their mistakes and continues to berate the audience, the paying customer, as it were. This is peak mental illness, being suppressed and then kind of rewarded along the lines, if you get my drift. I honestly look at Frosk and I'm like, this is somebody who has a problem, or Indiana Black, as it were, is her real name, I guess. I look at somebody like that and the way she responds to the criticisms. Now, granted, being a YouTuber, I've heard and all kinds of shit thrown at me. Even being as small as I am, you still get dedicated trolls along the way between here and Twitter. So, in having been in the professions away from YouTube that I've been in, it's nothing to me, whatever. But she cannot take any kind of criticism. And I look at her, and honestly, she has dead eyes, like shark eyes, like she looks like Jaws. Like, and I'm not talking about the choppers. I'm not going ad homs. Yeah, it's a different breed, if you know what I mean. Like people that have those dead, soulless eyes like that. There's a few people that, you know, you meet along the way or see like celebrities like, and she's not really a celebrity, but I'm just saying she has these dead eyes, and it just goes along with her thin skin and then her lashing out. That's all just immaturity. A lot of it's immaturity, and I'm sure that the criticism she faces because of her apparent lack of knowledge on the subject. Now, I've always said I'm not a game expert. The newest console I own is a PlayStation 2. I just enjoy playing video games without dealing with all of this bullshit. Like, nobody's arguing about GoldenEye on N64. Were you expecting someone else? Legend of Zelda or Metroid on NES Classic, you know, or you know, Sonic or whatever I play on Sega Genesis and shit. It's just me, and I'm happy with that. And my son gaming, you know. This Indiana Black, it has a lot of issues, and this whole thing has blown up. Give my thoughts on this. Cover this article from Spencer Bakuli. This from a couple days ago. Speaking publicly for the first time since the airing of her now infamous sexism in gaming rant, G4 personality and X-Play host Indiana Black has doubled down on her accusatory view of male video game players, even going so far as to accuse one particular critic of being sexist and recommend he read some feminist lit to better educate yourself. Yes, nothing screams proper education, some angry feminist literature.
How about new?
I mean, look at this. I'm sorry to keep going back on this, but look at, there is no soul in those eyes.
Lifeless eyes.
During the recent broadcast of X-Play, finding herself frustrated with a number of objections to her recent reviews, despite her admission as seen later in this article that she had, in fact, misspoke on 2 games, Black accused her critics of being sexist towards her simply because she was not as bangable as the network's previous hosts. Okay, now we get to play this game. Let's start with Morgan Webb. Morgan Webb, absolutely beautiful woman. Did Maxim magazine, which was I used to subscribe to Maxim when I was a teenager in the 90s. And Morgan Webb was one of those women, and it's not that they were being objectified, but they were willing participants in it. They knew they were marketable, And they used their asset, grow the audience, and it worked. I mean, look at Olivia Munn. She's grabbing sausage hanging from a string with her mouth. They knew this is what the audience wanted to see, and they played to it, and then they gave you your game stuff. It was like, okay, what do nerds like? Nerds like games. They like hot women. They do. And it's like G4 is like, bam, back in the day, it's like, here's these beautiful women who are going to talk about the stuff that you like, and they're knowledgeable about it. It all comes back to, honestly, this weird leftist mentality that they have to subvert the male gaze, but they defeminize, things. Like, I'm sorry, like, yes, this is just a truth. Frosk, nowhere near as hot as Olivia Munn, Morgan Webb, or Sarah Jean Underwood. Sarah Jean Underwood, Playmate of the Year. Another beautiful woman who was on G4. Men and women like to see aesthetically appealing men and women. And I'm not saying that there isn't a sect of the population that probably finds Frosk attractive. Her information is what bothers people first and foremost. Then her bitchy, off-putting attitude. Her, shall we say, rather obtuse attitude towards her audience. The combative attitude is what turns people off. You can be run-of-the-mill average looking and connect with your audience if you have a great personality, and they're still going to gravitate towards you because you're funny, you're engaging, you're witty, you're fallible. Being fallible is a huge thing. Admit your mistakes. This is where Frosk went off the rails, is she could not admit her mistakes and then automatically wants to attack her critics with ad hominem. Oh, you're sexist, And it's like, is there some sect of the population in gaming? I'm sure they're like, yes, there are. There always will be. It'll be like that in every arena. You're always going to have a few assholes that mess it up for everybody. If you can single out the people who are being, disruptive, then you do that, but you don't have to paint everybody with broad strokes. That's the problem is, and she's the one that probably tells everybody you have to be tolerant, obviously, because she's alphabet. She's one of the alphabet people, so you have to be tolerant. And I have no problem with that. Awesome, do you, boo-boo. Don't care. Live your life. I'm absolutely fine with that. But don't try to use that as a defense mechanism to legitimate criticism of your lack of professionalism, your lack of decorum. The way you communicate to the fans is going to be, mirrored back in the way they communicate with you in response to your ad hominems against them. In this instance where she goes at this guy in a comment thread. And she went on to say, Adam will read a script written by the same writer, and I will read the other half of the script for her, but I'm the one flaying, she added, before claiming that though it happens to Gerard and Smallwood, their experiences do not discount the sexism of how it happens to me when it does. Both things can be true. There is a general hatred of any change that isn't Adam, and that I'll receive special flame just for being a woman.
It will be, when it fits a woman.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt if you didn't come off like a complete bitch and said, you know what, guys, I screwed up. I'll own that one on me. Make a joke of it. That's how you get over with the audience, not by telling them they're bigots and istophobes for disagreeing with you or calling out your mistakes when you won't even acknowledge them, which it's ridiculous. I was like, why is she so angry wearing all that denim? You'd think somebody wearing all that denim would be happy, I don't know. It's like she woke up that day and just chose violence. Ultimately, Black declared to viewers, when you're in our DMs or in those YouTube comments or in Twitch chat right now, those reactionary threads, thinking I'm somehow ruining your current X-Play experience because you can't objectify me, how you previously did to Morgan, or that I'm somehow less qualified to speak on something, but you can't quite put your finger on why, even though I'm reading the exact same script as Adam, but you have no problem with his part of it. You're letting your unconscious biases ruin my day, and you're gatekeeping the gaming space. Oh. His seal clap, like... And this idiot blocked me on Twitter because I quote tweeted him and basically I kind of trolled him. So maybe for 2022, we'd be a bit nicer, a bit more self-reflective, and we enjoy the fact that people are working hard to make free content for you, she concluded. If you don't like it, Don't watch it. Peace.
Canceled.
And this was so funny. They acted like she said something that isn't obvious. This is my problem here, is why on earth is this applauded? Like it's not obvious, just common sense not to be a sexist asshole. Okay? You can criticize her without criticizing ad hominem things. You can pick apart her lack of knowledge of the topic. You know, like I said, I'm not a huge gamer. I'm not up on all this stuff. So I'm not coming at her from a gaming perspective, but I'm coming at her from her attitude. And this is the general, because it's the general attitude that we see from Hollywood. And now it's G4 TV who just came back, and we know they've hemorrhaged thousands of subscribers since this has happened, and it's going to hurt their product. You know, you try to relaunch a product and you have somebody come out and act like this is a little suspect. So the audience called her out. She got pissed because she knew she was wrong. And people like that, see, this is the difference between a good salesman and a shitty salesman. The ability to, if you don't know something, if you make a mistake, own it. Own it, because your customers will thank you for that honesty, and they will continue to stay by you and buy your product. See, this is what people like Frosk don't understand, because their egos are too big and they won't allow them any humility. In the wake of the episode's airing and subsequent spread of Black's rant across social media, one user on Reddit, user Squiggles, took to G4 TV's subreddit to post a thread inquiring why are people hating on the lady who hosts. Why are people hating on the lady hosts, especially Frosk? Just saw a video of Frosk and it really blows me away. Are a lot of these people just her haters from her days in the league, the user asked. It blows my mind that people are so toxic. I wish there was a way we could send love and support to the cast and crew. I hope she sees this, bro. The user's question was soon met with a response from Black herself, who informed Squiggles apparently it blew up how I'm spreading misinformation because I've made mistakes when talking about game releases. Sorry for not always getting it right, she dismissed her critics. I work a lot of shows, and the game news isn't my strength or passion. Playing games and reviewing them is. But if you inherently think women shouldn't be in your hobby, then making these mistakes become fixations to justify my ineptitude.
You are one pathetic loser.
Noting that League of Legends was brought up, Black rounded out a response by accusing the League of Legends European Championship of perpetuating rampant racism and sexism during her time with the organization, taking issue with such occurrences as English language broadcasts of events being hosted by white people.
You've got to do better.
I would have committed suicide if I stayed at the LEC. That is why I left, she added. From the bullying, from the community and the toxicity, from the management, lack of support from the team and peers, I had a full mental breakdown due to the working pressure and treatment from those managers.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
However, despite her attempt to silence her critics preemptively, painting them as blatant sexist, user Sean Finnegan found himself unmoved by her flippant condescension, telling Black directly, "You were out of line. You wagged your finger at the community, and you demonstrated incredible unprofessionalism and lack of judgment that is not only immature, but lacks any true self-awareness," he explained. "You obviously can't handle criticism, and you have huge self-esteem issues. Your rant mentioning previous hosts and making the bangability and jack-off comments were crude, inappropriate, and just vile. You alienated gamers who would have supported you had you approached this issue without being toxic and insulting." He continued, "I don't give a good damn that you're a woman. I am judging you as a person based on your actions and your words. That's equality. By the way, I have no confidence that you understand the problem here and that you will only dig yourself a deeper hole by doubling and tripling down on this mistake. I will not be watching G4 because of your behavior and the toxic behavior of Sessler. You have both destroyed the relaunch of G4. It's dead." He's pretty much spot on if you look at it. I mean, he just tore her apart. And this is everything that I and everybody else has been saying. We talked about it on a few live streams I've been on. I just haven't really done a video on it yet. I kind of wanted to cover it. This seemed like a good quick Monday video to get out for you guys. I'm sure I'm going on like about 30 minutes now on this thing. But yeah, so Black responded in patronizing tone. It was a 3-minute segment where we rant about something in gaming that bothered us in a 2-hour show. Seems to me like you're letting your biases sway you in what is actually a problem. If you think me asking people not to be sexist is toxic, I don't think we're having a discussion in good faith. She ironically dismissed her critic. Cheers. Finnegan did back up his claims by saying, he told her, I am holding you to standards that are genderless. As I stated, I don't care about your gender. I judge you on your words and actions alone. And that's it right there. He never came at her with an ad hominem attack. You know, the claims were backed up, and she responded in an immature tone that really speaks to her mental state. And it's humorous. In conclusion to her exchange with Finnegan, Black informed the user, and that's all I have to say. You can continue to respond, but I won't. You should read on some feminist lit to better educate yourself on these topics. I really recommend Eloquent Rage by Brittany Cooper or Ain't I a Woman by Bell Hook.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Ladies and gentlemen, my final thoughts. I think Frosk is insane. I think that G4, with her and Sessler and their brand of toxicity, have effectively kneecapped the relaunch of G4 because they, and Sessler in particular, thinks that they can just do this new woke garbage and people are just going to eat it up and be like, oh yeah, and you're on YouTube, baby. That comment section, that can turn on you real quick. And that dislike button, some of us still have the browser extension so we can see how many dislikes there are. They can't take any modicum of criticism and maintain their level of sanity in true insane leftist fashion. But now it's your turn, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do all the YouTube things, you know, like, share, subscribe. If you subscribe, ding the bell. We appreciate it. Almost at 1,050 subscribers. Join us back here tonight, Monday Night Going in Raw. Myself, Tony, Vinny, and Red, 8:35 Eastern. I'm Etepokuian of The Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all of yous.
I could do this all.
If I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and remember,
It's better to burn out than to fade away.